I've been working with the Giants now. This will be my 17th year, and just kind of had various jobs with them. Mostly, all in the minor leagues. And so about 8 years I was in San Jose just as a hitting coach there, and then went over to Salem, and that was our rookie team. So most of the guys, the kids that come out of college, and some of our younger top athletes go there for the short season. That's about a 71 game season there, and it's right after college is over. So I was there, managed that team for 2 years, went on to AA. Let's see, I had AA maybe 4 years, and the rest of the time has been as their hitting and infield coordinator in the minor leagues, and that's up until the last 2 years. And then they decided to kind of eliminate coordinators, and so now we have, like, it's called a fundamental coach on every team. And I was in AA 2 years ago, San Jose last year, and I'll be back in San Jose this year. So hopefully we can get this season started and get everything going. I was born and raised in a baseball family. Dad played for the San Francisco Giants. He was the original Giant in 1958, and I was born in 1959. So kind of grew up in the clubhouse at Candlestick Park, and I think that's where most of my instruction, where I learned most of how to play baseball and how to act, and just basically from that upbringing, I understood how hard this game actually was. But Jackson, I don't know what you guys, what you want me to hit on. You want me to open it up here to any questions, and they want to anything they got on their minds?
For sure. Yeah, let's get some question going, guys. Whoever's got a question, just throw it out there for Gary.
I have one.
What's up, Brady?
You mentioned that you grew up in the clubhouse. Like, what was it like to be around all those players?
For me, I mean, everyone's like, oh yeah, you got to get Maze's signature, and what's it like? And to me, they were just kind of like guys that played with my dad, and so it was like a work relationship. It was an unbelievable childhood. I mean, we dominated that clubhouse. I mean, we were all over that place, and all the Bonds kids were there, and Barry was in there, and Barry was all over Maze the whole time. I mean, he never left Maze alone. But it was more of a family thing then. I mean, you could have all the kids in the clubhouse, and we'd go out and shag and take BP before. And then when I started getting older, I started throwing batting practice to these guys. They'd give me like the extra guys, or like the third group, maybe the guys that weren't starting that day. But and it was different because we didn't have the ramps, so we had to throw all the way back on the dirt. So we was just a little bit in front of the mound, and I was in high school, and that was kind of nerve-wracking because you're throwing against these big league guys that expect
I'd be nervous
to throw strike. Yeah, so I think as far as my batting practice, that's probably got me locked in more than any place. But like I said, it was a great education. I'd go out to first base, and I'd be standing with McCovey, and I'd be taking throws from maybe the infielders, and he'd say something to me, hey, don't catch the ball against your chest, reach out in front of your foot, But I would, I'd go to shortstop, and Johnny LeMaster was the shortstop then, and he helped me a lot. And then I go to second base, and I'm over there, and Bill Madlock was there, and he learned how to turn a double play from Bill Mazeroski, which a Hall of Famer from Pittsburgh Pirates. And it just you just get, if you observe, I mean, a lot of times you don't have to actually participate, but just with your eyes and observe and steal things. So you guys are lucky. You can go on and see video and watch these guys, somebody you like, or maybe it's somebody that has the same position that you play, or hitting style, or and you can just break it down and really, study it just like you would for, anything like you would in class or school.
I've got one question for you.
Sure.
So you've seen guys like Bonds and Mays and like those Hall of Fame type guys.
Yeah.
Have you noticed anything that separates them from the average guys in the big leagues?
Their work ethic is unbelievable. I mean, you think, oh yeah, they got all this talent. They just sit back and don't do anything. They work harder than anybody out there.
Yeah.
And Barry, I mean, with him, he kind of had, Willie Mays is his godfather. Bobby Bonds is his dad. I mean, those guys just took him under his wing, and, he is super. If you ever, had a chance to talk to Barry, he is so intelligent and smart, and he breaks down hitting like a math equation. It's I've been around hitting guys all my life, but I just, I try to get him talking, and we grew up together. So, I could get him talking or, get him mad or anything, but he would start talking about hitting, and you just want to get a notepad and start taking notes.
Yeah.
And I use
That'd be an awesome conversation.
I use most of the stuff that he taught in the minor leagues. Now he's at the point where he's, the Giants got him going to some of these minor league affiliates, and I think the players are a little intimidated to talk to him.
Yeah.
Because he's not the type that's going to go up and grab you and say, "Hey, come on, I want to show you some stuff." You got to come to him, and and if you realize that, I mean, just it's amazing how someone like that can tell you one little thing and turn your whole approach and hitting around.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, who's got another question?
I have another one.
Brady, what is it?
Brady, go for it.
So say you're coaching somebody, they've never played baseball before, they're new to the game, they're not very good, they don't have a very good swing. What's the first thing or most important thing that you would coach them through hitting wise? Like, what's the most important thing?
Nice.
That's a great question. So I played over in Italy, and I was on a team there that there was guys that really never played ball before, or were just kind of learning. And to me, it's always going back to the fundamental stuff. It's going back to anybody that's worked with me. They know the first things that I do is those two little drills, that little walkthrough drill, and then that little step up drill I do. And on those two drills, I can get a really good feel for what level they're at. There's certain things that exposes their swing, or maybe it's their eyesight or balance or whatever. But I usually concentrate on the ground up first. So I make sure that their feet and balance is in good position. And then to me, after that, it's staying behind the ball after that. And then it's just keeping your eye. And, like I said, anybody that's ever worked with me knows how much I tell them to keep their head down, keep their eye on contact after the swing. And to me, if you're swinging and missing, it's eyesight at that time. So I think one of the best tools that you can train, which is probably the hardest thing to train, is vision. And that's something machines are good for that. They can throw a breaking ball and finally see something spinning. You get a little more velocity maybe off a machine. Anytime you can get your practice as close as you can to game time speed and reality, then I think that's the best practice. And then put forth your best effort. And it's not about quantity more than I think that it is about the quality. And you can sit there and take 200 swings and your switch hit and take 200 right hand and then go take 200 left hand. All it's going to do is get you really tired and create bad habits. So and I think that's something that we're teaching in the minor leagues too a lot more now is to work with smaller groups and to work shorter time, but intense.
Mhm.
So to answer your question, I would say balance first from the ground up. And then, your hands know what to do, but if you're not seeing the ball, then that's a huge red flag.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. Awesome. All right, who's got another question?
I
I got one.
I
Go
heard
ahead,
Ben
Jordan.
and someone else. Jordan?
I'll go. Okay.
Is that Jordan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll go Jordan then Ben.
Okay.
You coach like fielding or like hitting. Which one would you rather do, or which one do you like more?
I've probably done more on the hitting side, but my love is defense.
Yeah.
To me, I think I was fortunate growing up because Dad was a Gold Glove third baseman, so he wasn't real flashy, but he got the job done, and he was able to teach me the fundamentals of fielding. And like I said, we were on nice fields. We were playing, Candlestick Park. It was a nice field. So, it helped me to feel comfortable, one, get my work in, two, and then be around guys that actually taught. But definitely for me, defense, infield work, and now I have to do infield catching, outfield, base running, and bunting. That's my job title now with the Giants. And all of those are so important, and a lot of it's kind of getting pushed to the side, like base running. Now, I see a lot of kids coming out of high school and college that just don't have very good instincts on the bases. And, it's all about scoring runs. So you have to be that kind of a complete ball player, I think, and be able to do the little things. And that's what Dad was for me. He did all the little stuff that made him a really good ball player. And he was a clutch hitter, and he played great defense. And the Giants won, 3 World Series on pitching and defense.
Mhm.
They didn't have a lot of hitting,
Yeah.
and it's a tough hitter's park. So we'll see how it is this year since they moved the fences in and stuff. But
Did they really?
yeah, they
Oh, I didn't know that.
in right center, they've where that Triples Alley is.
Yeah.
You know where that garden is, like right next to it.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
pushed that in now. Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's going to be bullpens now out there.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I haven't actually seen the dimensions of it, but I think they took away that 421 now. I'm pretty sure.
Huh.
And if not, it's right next to it, and they moved the other part in closer.
Yeah.
So
Nice. Hopefully that.
yeah,
makes-
so
Yeah.
that should help Belt a little bit.
Yeah. For sure.
It's a lot of balls off the wall there.
I know. He's good. All right, Ben, you still have your question?
Yeah. So, when you watch great hitters like Barry Bonds hit, like, what about their approach is different from other hitters that sets them apart?
Yeah. So, quick story. Jim Quick, which I believe is from that area, right? I think he's Sacramento. No. Yeah, I think he's up there, Jim Quick.
Nice.
Anyway, he's umpiring behind the plate, and Barry Bonds is hitting. Okay. So pitcher throws a pitch, and it's about, a couple inches off the plate. And the catcher's like, come on, we got to have that pitch. He says it to Jim. Jim turns to the guy and goes, hey, he goes, if Barry didn't swing at it, it's not a strike.
That's awesome.
And I think that's one thing that separated him from anybody else is his vision is unbelievable. And he's able to check off on pitch. I think that's what Belt does really well too. That's when I first saw Belt, he was in A-ball in San Jose, and when I can see a hitter check off on changeups, and for balls, that to me that's a good sign of a good hitter, and a guy that can hit to right, hits the drive the ball into the opposite field. I mean, those are, for me, big indicators of a guy that can hit. And then, talking to our minor league guys and they're always, hey, what do I got to do to get to the big leagues? And I'm like, they don't throw any harder. They don't hit any farther. They don't hit it any, harder. They don't run any faster. I go, but what they do better than you is they can do it more consistently.
Yeah.
And, you're doing it, 3 out of 10, they're doing it 6 or 7 out of 10. And I think that's the big difference. And, with Barry, he was such a student of the game too. He really went into the studying pitchers, what's their best pitch. And he would try to take that pitch away from the hitter during his at bat, because he knew sooner or later at bat he was going to get that guy's pitch.
Yeah.
And usually in a critical, situation, and he'd sit on it. And these guys look, and they'll sit on outer third, they'll sit on inner third, and their approach is that they have one, and they're going up the plate with a plan against a guy that knows what he does. And that's why I said when Barry's talking about that mathematical equation, hey, this guy throws, 89 to 95. So that's his fastball. He doesn't have a good changeup. It's like his 4th pitch, but he has a good slider or something. Okay. And he just puts that into his little equation, and then he hits, and, he stood on top of the plate and you couldn't get inside on him.
Yeah.
So if you're going to beat him, you'd almost have to beat him on a good pitch away or something moving, from the outside in. But you rarely saw him take a bad swing. You never see him like, take a real bad swing, or, and Matt Williams was kind of, that way too. Even Richard Abreu, they had big years with the Giants. Yeah. And he's a big defensive guy, and Dad actually worked with Rich a lot in the infield when he was with the Giants. But I hope that answers part of the question anyway.
Yeah.
One thing about Barry's vision that I watched this video, and it was like they were simulating him playing baseball without a bat. Like if he never had a bat, what would his stats be? And I think one of the simulations was if he swung at it 87% of the time, it was a strike.
That's kind of confirming what I was talking about before,
Yeah.
right?
Crazy.
I mean, he knew his strike zone so well that he didn't you rarely see him chase a ball. He could tell, and I heard him talk about this too, that he used to talk about when the pitcher is throwing, there's this little box in front of him. And he goes, if that ball pops out of that box, he goes, I knew it was going to be a ball right when it came out of his hand. So he had these little tails. He'd pick up the ball early. He could see spin. He knew, this guy had a big break, or, it doesn't have much of a break. So he knew if it was in a certain area out of that box that he's not going to swing at it right away. But if it was in the box, then he knew it was going to probably be a strike. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's hard to imagine, because it's hard for me to even imagine a hit like that. Yeah. But he had these little keys that he picked up that I think that made him successful. And, like I said, he is strong. He worked hard. He studied the game. I mean, he's probably the most complete ball player that's ever played.
Yeah. I know. I was looking up his stats the other day, and I think there was 1 year he had over a 600 on base percentage, which is just outrageous to me.
Well, it was 609.
609? That's outrageous to think about.
In 2004.
Yeah. A lot of the teams, they felt like I'd rather walk Barry than pitch to him.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, that 1 year, what do you have, 200 and something walks or something?
Yeah, 220.
And I'm not sure the number, but I mean, he's on base all the time, and wouldn't you love to hit behind him or
For sure.
in front of him?
For sure.
And I think that was his argument with Jeff Kent a lot. And I think that's why they got into it.
Oh yeah.
He said, well, if you didn't hit behind me, you wouldn't have the numbers that you have, or, And Barry, I love him. He's very arrogant.
Yeah.
But he backs it up too.
So yeah, wasn't that great?
And
he had 232 walks in 2004.
Right. So just think of was that the year that he had the 73?
No,
home run?
that 73 was in 2001. The 232 was in 2004.
And see, it's just at that time, at that point in his game, it's like, we're not even going to pitch to him anymore.
Yeah.
But you know what? What was awesome about Barry, and this is what I remember my dad saying, was he would sit there all game and they'd walk him.
Get that one pitch.
And then he'd get that one pitch, and it was over the plate, and he'd smoke it.
Yeah. Wow.
But so he wasn't like it's up there like, oh, they're going to walk me. No, he was ready to hit every pitch. But, he'll take his walk. Wasn't going to chase. And I think if you can establish that as a hitter, I mean, he did it on like this huge level. But if you can establish yourself that you're not going to chase out of the zone, the pitchers will come into the zone and you can get those pitches that you're looking for. But I mean, I think that's the tough part. And I think that's the separator from the minor league guys and the big league guys, is the big league guys know their zone a lot better than the minor league guys. And that's why we have minor league games in leagues, because each league, I think, offers something.
For sure. Was there any pitcher that owned Barry Bonds or had his number?
Not that I could think of.
Yeah.
They try to throw these like lefty guys at him all the time. I think there was a lefty. I can't think of who it was though. But I think there was one lefty that they thought it could pitch to Barry, but Barry touched him up too. I mean, it's not like But I think it was the drop down guys that had the big break.
Yeah, for sure.
It was those
like
those
a Javier Lopez.
Exactly.
Yeah. Nice. Cool. All right. Anybody got any more questions?
Yeah.
What's up, Jordan?
Growing up, who was your favorite player?
Me growing up?
Mm-hmm.
I'd say, I didn't really probably realize it at the time. It was probably Mays. I mean, he's the guy I saw all the time.
Yeah.
And I was young. I mean, when I was, when Dad stopped playing, I was only 12. So, I think the player I saw probably the most at an early age that kind of like, wow, this guy's like special. It was definitely Mace. I didn't know how special he was, but he just played. Everything was, he always had a good time. He always had a smile on his face. He was smart. He could steal bases. He was a team leader. I mean, he was really good. I think he taught a lot of stuff to Barry.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's cool. All right. Keep them coming, guys.
Don't be shy.
I got one.
What's up?
Do you, Gary, do you think about launch angle at all?
To me, it's a touchy subject. Before, the way guys hit, you were swinging like down on the ball, right?
Yeah. And
so you're able to hit like low pitch better and, stay on top of the ball. And that's all Barry talked about was, keeping his, his top hand and really, stay on top. And he did that all through his career. Now they think that they can throw up in the zone, and they kind of like increased the height of the zone and kind of shrunk the sides. So now it's more up and down, and they think they can do that spin rate up high to throw up in that zone where, guys are doing that launch angle, and they're doing it to beat the launch angle.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to get to a point where there's going to be like a balance in there somewhere.
Yeah.
And to me, in the minor leagues, I tell the guys, and I don't get really involved with the hitting side of it anymore, but we play in some pretty big parks, and if you're hitting the ball up in the air all day, I mean, they're not hitting them out of the park. So I think launch angle works for guys that have a lot of power. Mm-hmm. But even their launch angles, if you look at some of these, angles that these guys are hitting, it's not as big as you think they are. These guys are just big, strong guys. They're hitting line drives out of the park. Aaron, Stanton. I mean, these guys. I think Stanton's launch angle's around 15. Wow. Altuve's is around 11. But I think that launch angle should be adapted to who you are as a hitter too. And I know the whole thing is that you're trying to stay on that plane but we play in a park in Double-A. It's in Richmond, Virginia. That's huge. And these guys are doing these launch angles. We had one guy, I won't say his name, but he worked with Gallo all off-season.
Yeah, Joey Gallo.
And he comes to that park and he's, crushing balls, but they're not getting out. And they're getting caught at the warning track. And I just try to tell these guys that, hey, you keep hitting the ball in the air. That's going to be the quickest way out of baseball for you. Yeah. I mean, there's a time and a place to lift the ball, and I think there's a time that you have to be a line drive hitter. And to me, I don't know. That's why I think I'm quite glad I'm not teaching hitting now. Yeah. Is my whole philosophy is a line drive, because it stays in the air the least amount of time. It's the best thing for your average. And if you miss, it's a hard ground ball. And if you make a mistake, it might be a home run. Okay. But if you want to me, a good hitter means he consistently hits the ball hard. Mm-hmm. And I think if you're trying to hit the ball in the air, you're going to miss it a lot and go underneath. I think you're going to pop out a lot more than normally. I know they're not interested in the strikeout as much anymore, but I tell you what, as a hitting guy or a manager, I'm really interested in guys striking out, because that's less guys on base. Mm-hmm. That's less opportunities to score runs. I mean, to make things happen. And, I think that it's part of like the base stealing too. Nobody steals anymore. Nobody really bunts that much anymore. But you might find that there's going to be certain teams that are built for speed, and they have to small ball it. And I think when you get into like the World Series and playoff time, these guys are trying to switch their mode and trying to get into more of a, let's hit the ball the other way now. You've been doing something all year a certain way, and it's kind of hard to switch gears right at the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think teams like the Dodgers, for example, I mean, they get in the playoffs. They can't win in playoffs. Yeah. Because they're getting that number 1 and 2 pitcher now, instead of beating up on that number 3, 4, and 5. Mm-hmm. And in the rotation. So I don't know. It's just, I think every team's a little different. I know every hitter's different. I think you should be the best hitter that you can be for your size, your ability. What are your weaknesses? What are your strengths? And then you have to understand who you are and be a good self-evaluator too. I mean, I know a lot of guys that, I should be doing this. And I should be hitting, 25 home runs and this and that. I'm like going, well, how many did you hit last year? 5. I go, yeah. I go, maybe you'll hit 8 or 10 this year, or, but if you start pressing for power,
not going to get it.
All it does is lead to a lot of strikeouts and a low batting average, and you're not helping your team. So I think it's selfish. I think trying to hit home runs and lift the ball in there is selfish for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Yelich and Bellinger talked about how they don't they don't do launch angle. They just try and hit it hard. And if it goes out, it goes out.
And who you talking? You've been talking about two of the probably best hitters in the game right now.
Yeah.
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 You know.
And launch angle is a weird thing because if you hit a ball, it's going to have a launch angle, you know? So,
Yeah.
you know, talking about all this launch angle stuff, at least from a pitcher's perspective, if I see a guy trying to lift every ball, then, you know, I'm happy because I'm just going to throw down in the zone and I'm going to get him out, you know?
Right.
So
He'll get himself out.
Yeah.
Yeah, get him out.
And if I see a guy with a flat swing who's in the zone for a long period of time, then it's like, okay, this guy's going to be on me more. I need to get, you know, a little bit better here.
You can tell as a pitcher, hey, this guy can hit, or this guy, he's got a hole on the outside, or he's got a hole inside, or you know, whatever. And that's why you have to kind of play around as a pitcher to see, hey, you know, what's this guy's weakness?
Yeah.
And if he finds it and you can't hit it, you know, Jackson, for you as a pitcher, are you going to change your approach at all if this guy can't hit a certain pitch?
No, not at all. I think I've thrown 9 or 10 sliders in a row before. You know, it's working.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, hey, he's going to throw me a fastball sooner or later. Why? Why would he?
Yeah, why would I do that? Yeah.
When I know you can't hit this pitch, why would I give you something maybe you can hit?
Yeah.
And that's
exactly.
what I see a lot of times. Guys like will blow a fastball by the guy and he'll foul it off, you know, and then they throw something off speed. I'm like going, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I go, you're just throwing into his bat speed now.
Definitely.
So, but that's why you have to be, I think, observant and kind of, you know, be a student of the game and understand, I mean, what's going on the field. And as a fielder, I mean, I think guys reading balls off the bat are terrible right now. You don't see guys get good jumps. You know, since we're doing the shifts and everything now, they think, oh, I'm in the position now. I don't have to, you know, move like I did before, or, you know, or you see guys flat-footed.
Yeah.
And I look for guys that, you know, actually moving toward wherever the ball was hit.
Yeah.
Even if it's not hit at him. If I see the guy moving a little bit to the, you know, right, if it's hit there, or moving to the left, then I know, hey, this guy's watching, this guy's paying attention.
Yeah. What's Crawford like? What sets him apart defensively?
Crawford's awesome.
Yeah.
I had Crawford when he first came to the Giants. Right out of UCLA, and he was came in a shortstop, and he was playing for us. He was a number 4 draft pick, and they said he was like the steal of the draft because I think he was hurt or something the year before and didn't play that much, so they kind of lowered him. He should have been like a number 1 guy. Okay, so he comes to San Jose, and I always talk about Crawford when I'm doing my fielding stuff.
Yeah.
He's super athletic, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the thing I noticed about him right away when I saw him in San Jose, he was always in that perfect position to catch the ball every time in the same spot. So he was super with his legs. So he'd always gotten great position to catch the ball and catch it in the same spot with his glove. And his mechanics were just solid. And then he had a cannon too. I mean, I guess they said he throws like 95 off the bump. So
wow, that's great.
But
that's awesome.
I mean, he doesn't sit back on balls. He's always moving, and he just got more, I think, athletic as time goes on. I think last year, well, I don't know, the last 2 years, they said his defense has gone down.
Yeah.
He had knee problems.
Oh.
And he got hurt right before the season started. It was hurt the year before at the end of the season, and he went all through off season. He was fine. Went to spring training, hurt his knee right before the season started. And I think, you know, he looked like he gained a little weight, and, you know, I think he wasn't able to do a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So if he's good this year, you'll see a different guy. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we're about to get booted from the meeting because we have a time limit, but thanks for joining us. We appreciate your time.
That was awesome. I
that was
really
fun.
enjoyed it.
Yeah.